Did you know that Australia is home to more than 10,000 beaches? Imagine visiting a new beach every day. It would take you over 27 years. Australia is known for its natural wonders, big cities, unique wildlife, and fascinating culture. I, Sarah, am here to take you through my incredible journey across this massive country, where every corner holds something amazing. My heart raced as the plane began its descent into Sydney, Australia. The excitement of stepping onto the land of kangaroos and koalas felt like a dream come true. I've always wanted to explore this beautiful country, and now, after years of dreaming, I was finally here. As the city began to take shape beneath me, I couldn't wait to explore. Sydney was just the beginning, but I knew the journey ahead would change me forever. Sydney was the perfect place to start. The iconic Sydney Opera House greeted me first with its white sails gleaming under the sun. I walked along Circular Quay, the harbour bustling with ferries and tourists. I felt the cool breeze against my face as I admired the view of the Sydney Harbour Bridge stretching across the water. I couldn't wait to walk across it, so I did just that. As I stood at the top, I saw the city below. Buildings, boats, and people going about their day. But I knew that I was just beginning to scratch the surface of what Australia had to offer. One of the challenges I faced during this trip was how vast Australia is. The country is so huge that sometimes it feels like the next destination is far beyond reach. The thought of deciding where to go next felt overwhelming. Should I visit the beaches of Queensland, explore the outback, or dive into the vibrant life of Melbourne? The possibilities were endless, but the distances between places made the planning difficult. After spending a few days in Sydney, I decided to head north to Cairns, hoping to see the world-famous Great Barrier Reef. It wasn't just about the beaches for me, though. I wanted to learn more about Australia's wildlife, its culture, and its people. I knew this country had so much to teach, and I was ready to embrace it all. The flight to Cairns was short but scenic, giving me a taste of the tropical beauty that awaited me. I arrived and immediately felt the warm, humid air wrapping around me. The city had a relaxed, laid-back vibe. But it wasn't just the city that intrigued me. It was the Great Barrier Reef. I booked a tour that would take me out on a boat, and before I knew it, I was out on the open sea, surrounded by the crystal-clear water. As I stood on the deck of the boat, I couldn't help but feel a sense of awe. The Great Barrier Reef is one of the most famous natural wonders in the world, and here I was, standing at the edge of it. I could see colorful fish swimming beneath the surface, and as the boat stopped, I slipped on my snorkeling gear and dove into the warm water. The sight that awaited me was beyond words. Vibrant coral stretched out before me, and schools of fish danced around in the sunlight. A sea turtle glided past, and I swam alongside it, feeling as though I had entered another world. It was a moment I would never forget. The most unforgettable moment of my trip happened when I decided to venture into the outback. I'd heard about Uluru, the giant red rock in the center of the country, and I couldn't pass up the chance to see it for myself. I flew to Alice Springs, the closest city, and then took a drive to Uluru. As the sun began to set, the sky changed colors, casting a warm golden glow across the desert. Uluru itself seemed to come alive, its red surface glowing against the backdrop of the deep blue sky. I sat in awe, taking in the breathtaking view. It was a sacred place for the local Aboriginal people, and I felt honored to witness it. The guide told us stories about Uluru, explaining its significance in Aboriginal culture. I learned that Uluru is more than just a rock. It is a living part of Australia's history and spirituality. The energy around me was strong, and I could feel the deep connection the land had to its people. As I watched the sunset paint the sky, I realized this moment would stay with me forever. Australia had already given me so much. From the vibrant cities of Sydney and Cairns to the untouched beauty of the outback, I had begun to realize that this country was more than just a tourist destination. It was a place that challenged my perceptions and expanded my horizons. But there was still so much more to discover, and I knew my journey was far from over. After my incredible experience in the outback, I was eager to see more of what Australia had to offer. My next stop was Melbourne, a city known for its art, food, and coffee culture. I arrived in the city early in the morning, and the first thing I noticed was the lively energy of the streets. The people here seemed to move with purpose, but there was still a sense of relaxation in the air. I strolled through the laneways, which were filled with colorful street art, and I couldn't help but stop to take photos. Each mural told a story, and I loved how vibrant and creative Melbourne felt. I decided to spend the day exploring some of the city's most famous spots, starting with Federation Square, the heart of Melbourne. The architecture here was modern, with buildings that seemed to defy convention. As I walked through the square, I heard the sounds of a street musician playing guitar, and I stopped to listen. The city had this unique ability to make you feel alive, and I couldn't wait to dive deeper into its offerings. For lunch, I went to a small cafe where I tried a flat white, an Australian coffee drink that quickly became one of my favorites. The next day, I visited the Royal Botanic Gardens, a peaceful retreat in the middle of the bustling city. It felt like stepping into a different world, surrounded by lush greenery and calm lakes. I took a leisurely walk, enjoying the quiet and reflecting on my travels so far. It struck me that Australia was full of contrasts. Vibrant cities filled with culture and history, peaceful natural wonders that made you pause and reflect, and vast, untamed landscapes that seemed to stretch forever. After spending time in Melbourne, I felt like I needed a break from the busy city life, so I decided to visit the Gold Coast, famous for its beaches, surf culture, and laid-back vibe. When I arrived, I was greeted by the sound of the ocean and the sight of surfers riding the waves. The air was warm and the sun shone brightly. I couldn't wait to relax and enjoy the coast. One of the most exciting parts of my visit was taking a surf lesson. I had never tried surfing before, but I was ready for the challenge. My instructor, a friendly local named Josh, taught me the basics on the beach before we waded into the water. At first, I struggled to keep my balance, falling off the board every time I tried to stand. But with Josh's encouragement, I kept trying. After several attempts, I finally managed to catch a small wave and stand up on the board for a few seconds. The rush of excitement I felt was like nothing I had ever experienced. I was hooked. Surfing became one of the highlights of my trip, and every time I managed to ride a wave, I felt a sense of achievement. But my adventure wasn't just about beaches and surfing. I wanted to experience more of Australia's wildlife, so I planned a visit to Kangaroo Island, known for its native animals and stunning landscapes. As soon as I arrived, I was greeted by the sight of kangaroos hopping freely in the wild. I had seen kangaroos before in zoos, but seeing them in their natural habitat was an entirely different experience. The island felt peaceful, and I spent my days hiking through national parks, spotting koalas, echidnas, and even sea lions lounging on the beaches. One of the most memorable experiences on Kangaroo Island was a visit to the Flinders Chase National Park, where I saw the remarkable rocks, giant granite boulders that have been shaped by the wind and weather over thousands of years. The view from the top was breathtaking, with the ocean stretching out in every direction. I sat on one of the rocks and just took in the beauty of the place. It was a reminder of how powerful nature is and how small we are in comparison. But my time in Australia wouldn't be complete without a visit to Tasmania, a wild and untamed island off the southern coast. Tasmania is known for its pristine wilderness, and I was excited to experience its natural beauty. I took a hiking trip through Cradle Mountain National Park, one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. The mountain loomed high above, covered in snow, and the forests around it were filled with tall trees and crystal-clear lakes. One day, while hiking along a trail, I had an unexpected encounter. As I rounded a corner, I saw a Tasmanian devil, one of the rarest and most iconic creatures in Australia, wandering through the underbrush. I froze for a moment, unsure of what to do. The Tasmanian devil seemed completely at ease, not bothered by my presence. I watched it for a few minutes before it disappeared into the forest. It was a surreal moment, and I felt incredibly lucky to have witnessed such a rare creature in the wild. As my journey through Australia came to an end, I found myself reflecting on all the incredible experiences I had. From the bustling cities of Sydney and Melbourne to the remote beauty of the outback and the pristine wilderness of Tasmania, Australia had shown me a side of the world that I never expected. The diversity of landscapes, wildlife, and cultures left me in awe. But more than that, my trip to Australia taught me the importance of slowing down and appreciating the world around us. Whether it was watching the sunset over Uluru or sitting quietly by a lake in Tasmania, I learned that true adventure doesn't always have to be fast-paced or full of action. Sometimes, the most rewarding experiences come from simply being present in the moment. Have you ever been to Australia, or do you have a dream destination in mind? I would love to hear about your favorite places in the comments. And if you enjoyed following my adventure, make sure to check out my other travel stories for more tips, inspiration, and breathtaking destinations.